So I hope you enjoyed the story. So now we're going to get right into learning about how to make wapos tapaguan, guahanquetas tapaguan. So a rabbit snare and a squirrel snare. So of course, in order to be able to make a snare, we need some wire. So for now, right now, I know that because of the conditions we're in right now with the sickness going around, you might not be able to get some snare wire. And I'm going to show you how to find wire other ways a little later on. But for now, I'm going to show you how to make wapos tapaguan first. So a rabbit snare. So of course we need our snare wire once you do get wire. And because I'm not there with you, we're going to, it's very important that I make sure that you got your measurements right. So I'm actually going to be using a ruler today. So you're going to need a ruler to be able to measure the length of your wire and then the diameter and circumference around how big the snares are. So I'm going to actually give you those measurements so you know. Just because right now because I'm on camera, it's difficult to show you. If I was in person with you, I could show you much better how the sizes are. But the ruler is going to help us a lot today in showing you exactly how much wire you need and how big around your snares are. So for right now, the length of wire that we'll need to make wapos tapaguan is about 60 centimeters. So in order to measure that, if we just have our ruler, we know that a ruler is 30 centimeters long. So all I'm going to do is take my ruler, put the end of my wire on one end, and I'm going to go actually just right around so my wire goes twice. So see, I've got it right around my ruler and back around. I'm going to kind of mark that by putting a little bend in there. I'm going to take my cutter tool here, and if you don't have any of these around, just ask your mom or your dad or your muslim your kokum, and I'm sure they'll get you little pliers for cutting wire. So you just cut the wire at our 60 centimeter mark, because like I said, we know that this is the ruler's length twice, so that's 60 centimeters there. That's about how much I need. And you could just check again with your ruler. Take your ruler, mark it, go around your ruler again, back up. So we see that's 30 twice. So 30 times 2 is 60. So I've got 60 centimeters of snare wire here. So I know I have 60 centimeters, and I'm just going to write that on a piece of paper. So 60 centimeters total of wire, and we're going to need that number a little later on. So first of all, with the wire, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out here with my ruler again 3 centimeters. So once I get to 3 centimeters, or maybe even 4 centimeters, so maybe 4 centimeters will be better, just mark that with your finger. So that's 4 centimeters there. I'm going to fold that down and sort of make it look like, you can see it sort of looks like a paper clip end now. So I'm just going to hold that, and I'm going to take this end, and I'm just going to twist it around and around and around until I've got sort of a little loop on the end of my wire. So I've got that little loop there, and that's what you want. So after I've got that, my other end will go through that loop, and that's what's going to sort of make my snare. So you see it goes through, and I've sort of got a rough snare there. Now with wire, when you get it all sort of bumpy like this, all you've got to do is take your pliers or whatever tool you have and just hold it there and just sort of run it along, and it'll straighten out any rough spots. Maybe do it a couple times, and then you'll see, and it'll form it nice and smooth into a circle. So I'm going to put that in through my loop again, and you'll see I have a nice circle there. Now with the snare we have to be a certain size, and it's difficult for me to show you the size here, so we're going to have to do a little math here so you can do some measuring so you can be sure to have the right size of snare. So I know that my wire is 60 centimeters long, so now from there I have to sort of figure out what my circumference. So circumference is the distance around my loop. And the formula for figuring out circumference is, so circumference equals 2 pi r. So this is the formula for circumference. 2 pi r. So it's 2 times pi. We know that pi is a constant, so it's 3.14 times the radius. So now we need to figure out what the radius is. For those that don't know what radius is is 1/2 of your diameter. So the diameter would be from this end to this end. So I need to try and figure out half of that, from that end to this end. So radius is 1/2 the diameter. And I'll just separate these. So radius is 1/2 the diameter. So now we have to figure out the diameter so we could figure out the radius. So again, let me just remind you again. Remember, diameter is from one end of my snare to the other end of my snare. I still need to figure out the radius. So if I take my ruler again and just roughly guessing, I am going to say that the diameter should be about 12 centimeters. So if I mark it from my 0 to there, so that's about 12 centimeters diameter. So from the top of the circle to the bottom of the circle, that's 12 centimeters. So now I know my diameter of my snare is 12 centimeters. So now we can put those down and we're going to do some math to figure out how big your snare has to be. So again here, my diameter is 12 centimeters. Now I know that the radius is 1/2 the diameter. So what's 1/2 of 12? So my radius will equal 1/2 of 12, which is 6 centimeters. So my radius is 6 centimeters. Now I go back to my formula for figuring out circumference, or how the distance around my snare. So now I have my numbers that I need. I have my diameter, I have my radius. Now I can go to my formula to figure out how the distance around my snare. So 2 pi r. So remember, pi is a constant. It's always 3.14. So pi is 3.14. So now I take that. So it says 2 times pi. So 2 times 3.14. So 2 times 3.14 . If you have a calculator, you can figure it out. If not, if you can do mental math, that's great. But 2 times 3.14 would be, 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. So my radius, the pi times 2 is 6.28. So now I multiply that by my radius. So 6.28 times, remember my radius is 6. So 6 centimeters. So 6.28 times 6 centimeters. And for those who aren't that great with math, I'll show you how to do that on your calculator. So you should have your calculator like this. And I've got my numbers here. So 6.28 times 6 centimeters. So 6.28 times 6 equals 37.68. That is my circumference, or the distance around my snare. So 37.68. 37.68 centimeters. So right at the bottom, that's the number we're looking for. 37.68 centimeters. That's exactly how much snare wire I'm going to need to make my circle. So I go back to my snare. So my snare is stretched out like this. I know the number I'm looking for is 37.68 centimeters. So I'll go to my ruler, put my little loop at the 1, and go down 37.68. So I know this is 30, so I'm going to mark it there, move my ruler down, and so 30 plus 7.68. So I'm going to go 7 more centimeters and just over a half a centimeter. So that's about where my circle should end. So that much wire, that's 37.68 centimeters. So now I could take my snare, put that through, mark it by putting a little bend there. So now I have about the perfect size that my wapos tapaguan should be. So that's about the perfect size you want your rabbit snare to be. And then I've got enough leftover wire here to secure it to the tree along the trail or wherever I'm going to put it. That'll come in lessons later on where I'm going to show you how to set the snare in the bush. But for now, we're just making the snares. Because you don't want to just make one. You want to make, when I go out, sometimes I make maybe 20 snares to go set. And I usually set almost all of them when I'm out snaring. So that's how the exact circumference my tapaguan should be. So we know it's 37.68 centimeters. And that, my friends, is how you make wapos tapaguan.